Welcome, everybody. We are live with episode 61 of Can We Make Total Extreme Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the best promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013. I think that's the first time in about 20 episodes I've done that. But we're here 3 days away from Impact TV, fresh, hot off the heels of a pretty solid pay-per-view, a sellout at the Breslin for Impact No Surrender. And really had a great show, all in all, with a B rating overall. Didn't increase our popularity in the Great Lakes region, which is what we were hoping to do to get that up to a C+. So we'll have one more TV there, and if we don't quite make it, or if we don't see any improvement in the Great Lakes region, we'll look at a different area of the country, like the Mid-Atlantic or the Southwest. Even Puerto Rico could be an option as well that we'll take a look at. Post pay-per-view, we had some title changes as well. Impact Grand Champion was Adam Cole going into this. He retained his title successfully. Our TV champion, Kenny Omega, he defeated Cody Rhodes to become a two-time World Television Champion. Billie Kay retained her Impact Women's title. Marty Scurll defeated Seth Rollins for the Impact World Championship. So this is his first run as Impact Champion. The TNA Tag Team Champions going into our pay-per-view was the team of Violent Conduct, Mike Elgin and Sami Callihan. Now it is the New Day. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston have taken that title away from Violent Conduct, defeating them and the Wolves in a triple threat match. And our X Division champion, Jonathan Moxley, retained over the now 0-7 Pac. His first successful defense of that particular title. So, Kofi Kingston is now a Grand Championship run away from being I guess you wouldn't call it a Triple Crown winner, a Grand Slam champion, I guess you could call it. He's won the world title, he's a tag team champion, and he's won the X Division title. I guess, you could say the television championship now, even though it's a brand new title. He needs to win that as well to become Grand Slam champion. Also, in-game, Corey Graves will be starting tomorrow, so he'll be on just in time for TV. And that will mean that Joey Styles goes bye-bye and Corey Graves comes on board for Impact Wrestling TV. So we'll go ahead and save that. And you can see for events, Michael Cole, Mauro Ranallo, and JBL. And for TV, Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves, along with JBL. Which, actually, I'll probably take JBL off of this, and we'll just go with a two-man booth. There we go. So we'll go two-man booth for TV, Mauro Ranallo, Corey Graves, and then for the pay-per-views, we'll go Michael Cole and JBL, along with Mauro Ranallo. Also, Drew Galloway will be returning to the promotion in a week. Also, Eddie Edwards still continues to be pissed off at me for firing his wife and firing him a while back, but he's back and teaming up with Davey Richards once again. Also in this particular stream, we will be talking about TNA Slammiversary 2009. And it was an 8-match card. It included 2 King of the Mountain matches, a Monsters Ball match that featured mixed tag, I guess you would call it, and a traditional tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships, traditional singles match for the Knockout Championship as well, plus the British Invasion in a dark match. But we'll talk about that here momentarily as we get kicking with Impact TV. Let's go ahead and move forward in game, and we'll talk about that dark match, the British Invasion. Magnus, Doug Williams, along with Rob Terry at ringside, also known as the Freak when he worked in TNA. They would actually beat Eric Young and Rhino in a awkwardly put-together tag team. The King of the Mountain match for the X Division Championship, the first of two. So if you remember, King of the Mountain match, basically you have to qualify, and then once you're qualified, you hang the belt above the ring. So it's sort of like a backwards ladder match. So the first to qualify was Suicide. After he pinned Jay Lethal, Jay Lethal would then turn around and pin Suicide to qualify. Consequences Creed would qualify by pinning Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley would qualify in a weird situation where Chris Sabin basically just laid down and let Alex Shelley pin him for the pinfall. And then Chris Sabin would qualify after pinning Jay Lethal after he hit a tornado DDT. So with those five qualified, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Consequences Creed, Jay Lethal, and Suicide, the King of the Mountain match would begin. 25-minute match to kick off the pay-per-view, which was, pretty awesome. Suicide was getting ready to climb the ladder, and Jay Lethal would push him off. He went through the penalty box, and there was a couple other spots, and then Suicide would jump to the top rope and hang the belt, I guess. I guess you would call it that. Afterwards, Suicide was wrestling... Jesus, how do I want to describe this, I guess? They were fighting with Shane Douglas over a couple of things, and for some reason Shane Douglas was getting involved in an X Division title match. And they would wrestle for position in the company, I guess you could say. So it kind of went around and around, and then Daniels would hit the STO and then hit a moonsault to pick up the victory in that one, which Suicide would then be... I don't know if it was revealed that he was Christopher Daniels, or if Christopher Daniels just kind of got changed really fast to get that going, and get that sort of impromptu match rocking and rolling. Alright, after that, all of that nonsense out of the way, the next match on the card was for the TNA Women's Knockout Championship between Tara, who was Victoria, and is actually Victoria in WWE, would come out as Tara, and she would wrestle Angelina Love along with Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky at ringside for Angelina Love. Really quick match for this, for a championship match, for the women's title match. Tara kind of got in on it and would get the upper hand throughout most of the match, but then Velvet Sky, who was at ringside for Angelina Love, would hit Tara, I keep wanting to call her Victoria, Tara, with hairspray to blind Tara, and that would allow Angelina Love to hit the facebuster and retain the title. Okay, so we'll get to some of these emails. OVW re-signs Vince Russo. Sorry to hear that, guys. Corey Graves has joined Impact Wrestling officially. Good news for us. So we'll go ahead and assign Corey Graves his position on the roster as a color commentator. And you can see he has joined the TV booth. Alright, cool. So we've got two really good announced teams now on TV, Mauro Ranallo, Corey Graves, and the pay-per-views, Mauro Ranallo, Michael Cole, JBL. We've basically stolen the top-notch announced teams from WWE. Good coup for us. Yay for us. Moving forward, alright, we'll talk about more of Slammiversary 2009. The next match was the Monsters Ball match. The team of Abyss and Taylor Wilde would take on Daphne and Raven with Dr. Stevie Richards, at ringside. So things kind of got started with Abyss actually attacking Daphne, and there was a spot where he threw her onto Raven and Dr. Stevie. Taylor Wilde would then do a tope and landed on all three of them. The women would kind of go at it. Abyss would break out thumbtacks. The women would get back into the ring. Raven would hit Abyss with a steel chair and then a DDT. Abyss would then get up and hit the Black Hole Slam on Raven onto the thumbtacks and then pick up the pinfall victory for that one. Next up was a singles match, straight up singles match, 9-minute match for this one. Sting taking on the Blueprint, as he was called, Matt Morgan. And basically, if Matt Morgan were to win, then he would be in the main event Mafia. Not really much to it. Kind of a quick match. Morgan, obviously physically bigger than Sting, would do his work. But then Morgan went to attack, I guess you would say, in the corner, and Sting would actually get around him and set him up for the Scorpion Death Drop for the victory. Alright. What do we got going on here? MVP retiring. Rikishi is retiring. Chris Gray got divorced. Alright, Impact Wrestling tomorrow night. So we'll talk about the final two matches on the card at Slammiversary 09. First up, tag team match for the tag team titles between Beer Money Incorporated and the champions, Team 3D. The British Invasion would come out and distract the two teams. The Dudleys would hit the 3D on Rude, but before they could pin him, the Invasion came back down and pulled some distraction work. And then Bobby Roode and James Storm would hit the DWI before pinning the Dudleys and picking up the win. Next and finally, a 25-minute match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, King of the Mountain match. So to qualify, you had Kurt Angle would qualify first. Joe actually would attack Kurt Angle before the match started, which gave Kurt Angle the qualification, and it also put Samoa Joe in the penalty box to start the match. Next up, Mick Foley would lay down for Jeff Jarrett. Samoa Joe would come out of the penalty box, and he would get Mick Foley to, well, technically he didn't tap. He went to sleep from the Coquina Clutch. Mick Foley would hit an elbow drop from the top of the penalty box to qualify after he pinned Kurt Angle. Last but not least, Mick Foley would fall off a ladder. AJ Styles would pick up the pin to qualify. So you had Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Samoa Joe, Mick Foley and AJ Styles all qualifying for the King of the Mountain match, which is really, I don't know why they do these qualifying matches, I guess. Mostly because I think in all of the matches that we've recapped up to now, only one person has failed to qualify for the King of the Mountain match. But, that being said, AJ would stop Kurt Angle from climbing the ladder, and then he would try to hang the belt himself, AJ that is, and then Joe would powerbomb him off the ladder. Joe and Kurt Angle both climbed the ladder at the same time. Joe had the belt, and just when he was getting ready to hang it, he handed it to Kurt Angle and allowed him to win the title. Mick Foley was the champion coming into this. Also, it came to light that Kurt Angle had paid off Samoa Joe to help him win the match. Joe would then join the Main Event Mafia, and Kurt Angle would basically say he was the new leader of the Main Event Mafia. So, there we go. That, in a nutshell, was Slammiversary 2009. Okay, so let's see what we got going on in-game, finally. JWP has finally tapped out. They have closed their doors. OVW had a pretty good show, which is good because they were in trouble. Tomo Ishii looks like he's all set to stay with New Japan. That's good. Alright, so Impact Wrestling is on. We need opponents for all of our title matches. And we are not going to be there. Let's see here. I like the idea of going to Yost Ice Arena. 6,600 people, we could probably sell that out. Waldo Stadium. Actually, in college, I lived above Waldo Stadium. We could go to one of the bigger rooms in the building that we lived in, and we could basically watch a football game from our house. It was pretty awesome. So we're looking for a venue somewhere in that, yeah, here we go, 8,000-ish range for TV. But I think we've been to that arena before. Let's go with the SIU Arena, the Southern Illinois University Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. Okay. So, we are going to find a World Championship opponent for Marty Scurll. And it would seem moderately obvious to me that it would be Seth Rollins. And, you know, it's pretty great to see Marty Scurll back on top of the main eventer. He's floated all over this card. So to see him finally be listed as a main eventer with that winning percentage that you see there, he's 38-14. Seth Rollins is 19-2, including the loss to Marty Scurll. And Kofi's up there, Rich Swann is up there, Bray Wyatt's up there, Eddie Edwards, Jon Moxley, Cody, Johnny Impact. That's really, and then Mike Elgin is your basically your top 10. Theoretically, if we were going by this, our number one contender would be Seth Rollins. But as we've established from TV and from the last pay-per-view, those two don't really click. Their match styles don't necessarily work out all that well. So, we'll move down the list a little bit. Kofi's a tag champ. So we'll check him off. Rich Swann doesn't hold a title. So we'll see how... But Rich Swann has sort of disappeared from the main event scene. So next up would be Bray Wyatt. But Jay White is also here. And Jay doesn't really have the greatest record in the universe. So, what I think we're going to do is we're going to give Marty Scurll Kofi Kingston just for today. Just for this TV taping. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to back that statement up a little bit. Because we're going to have... I like that. I like this idea. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a number one contenders match. In that number one contenders match will be Bray Wyatt, Jay White, and Rich Swann, who couldn't have fallen that far. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the winner of this match will get Marty Scurll. And we'll see if it works out at the next TV. And if it goes well, then we'll put it on the pay-per-view. So I'm not going to determine who wins that one. And then what we'll do is the two guys that lose in this match will go head-to-head to determine the number one contender for the Grand Championship. And then, whomever obviously goes 0-2 will be our X Division contender. I kind of like this idea. So that said, that means we're going to do another triple threat match, and we will put our champions in there. So we'll have Marty Scurll, we'll have Jon Moxley, and we will have Adam Cole, baby. All go head to head. This will be our main event match, I think. There we go. We'll bump this up a little bit. And we will take it out of All Out and we'll slow build it. Yes, I know. Okay, there we go. Now, we need an opponent for our television champion, Kenny Omega. Kenny, now a two-time television champion. Will Ospreay and TJP kind of stole the show last time out. Seth's going to be in the main event picture. Let's go with Rey Fenix. Let's give this match a go. But I want Kenny to actually hold on to this title for a little while. There we go. We'll see how that turns out for us. Next up, we're going to need tag team match. And Death from Above and the Bucks put on an incredible show last time out. So I think I want to play with that combination, those two teams against the New Day. So Death from Above, the Bucks, and the New Day. We'll see how this combo works for us. Non-title match. There we go. Alright, so all of our titles for the men are squared away. Now we need to find an opponent for Billy Kay. So, Billy Kay. Let's try Su Yung. I feel like we haven't given enough love to Su Yung, but let's see. Yeah, she's sort of middle of the pack. I mean, theoretically, she's beat Kairi Sane, she's beat Asuka. Io Shirai should be next up, by all rights. So let's do that instead. Instead of Su Yung, let's go Io Shirai. Alright, there we go. So we've got 30 minutes left, and I think we've just about got all of our main event guys squared, except for Seth Rollins. So let's put Seth against Cody. This could actually be a barn burner of a non-title match right here. We're actually going to open the show with that one. Alright, so that takes care of our main event guys and our upper mid-card guys. Let's put these three in a tag match together. That gives us 10 minutes left. And let's do a triple threat and we'll get all the men on the card. So Adam Page. I have way too many triple threat matches for this, for my liking, but we'll roll with it. I want to start getting Adam Page a push. He's 3-12. And I know he's better than that. And we gotta make Johnny Impact look strong. Okay, there we go. Alright. So, here we go, live from Illinois, in the Southern Illinois University Center. Let's run this show. Seth and Cody looked pretty good. So we'll go ahead and pencil that one in for our pay-per-view. B- out of Adam Page, Johnny Impact, and Pentagon Jr. So we'll go ahead and pencil that one in too. Nice triple threat tag match that we can lock in as well with the Future, the Wolves, and Violent Conduct. Billy Kay and Io Shirai was kinda meh. We'll work on that. There's our tag match right there for the tag titles. The New Day versus the Bucks versus Death from Above. Kenny Omega and Phoenix looked pretty good. So we'll dial that one in. Jay White gets the world title shot against Marty Scurll, but we'll just kind of side note that one. Assuming it works. And then we've got Bray versus Swan. For the X Division Championship. Marty Moxley and Cole was a pretty good match. And a B overall for a pretty solid show. The only one that made me kind of unhappy was Billie Kay and Io Shirai. So we'll go back to the drawing board for her. And we'll be testing the waters with Marty Scurll and Jay White. And then the winner of Bray Wyatt and Rich Swann will get their choice, which would probably be the X Division title. And the loser gets the Grand Championship shot against Adam Cole. So we've got a lot of that stuff set up. We've got TV set up as well. And so for tomorrow's episode, as we wait for everything to come through, we're going to talk about Victory Road 2009 from the Impact Zone. We would see a World Heavyweight Championship match, a Tag Team Championship match. The Legends Championship would make a return, along with Kevin Nash making his in-ring return. We would see Jenna Maraska in a match. The IWGP Tag Team Championships would be on the line, and Christopher Daniels would be out of the Suicide Suit as well. We have new emails to keep an eye on. Looks like Lars Sullivan's going to get a contract extension. AEW set to sign some new folk. WWE contract offer to Cesaro. That'd be an interesting pickup for us. And Drake Wuertz is set to remain with WWE. And we did a 3.16 on Pop. That's great news for us. That's way up from our last show. And we're continuing to improve our popularity in the Great Lakes region. So we'll keep pushing that. We probably won't go Great Lakes for TV this time around, but we want to make sure we are in an area where we get spillover, like the Mid-Atlantic area. We would also get spillover from the Tri-State area. So we'll keep an eye on those things as well as we continue to try to bump up one of these last 5 spots up to that C+ or better so that we can jump up to national size. And that may prompt us to have a little bit of a bigger roster too. And, you know, we may play with the idea of a brand split. I don't know. But we'll see how things go. So, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for episode number 62. And as always, be excellent.